Terrain and mountains and rivers. The terrain of the United States is high on both sides and low in the middle. The west coast is surrounded by the Rocky Mountains and has a higher altitude. The east coast is also a highland composed of mountains and plateaus. The overall plain is about 4.82 million square kilometers, accounting for one-half of the country's land. The area of plains ranks third in the world. They are mainly distributed in the central, Great Lakes, eastern and southern coastal areas. China's terrain is high in the west and low in the east, distributed in a three-step shape. The terrain is diverse, with vast mountainous areas, sloping from west to east toward the sea. Many large rivers flow eastward to the sea to communicate east-west traffic and facilitate economic links between the coast and the inland. The overall plain area is about 1.15 million square kilometers, accounting for 12% of the country's land area, and it is mainly distributed in the middle and lower reaches of the Yangtze River in northeast China. American altitude. China altitude. It can be seen from the altitude map that the areas above 500 to 3,000 meters, red, in China and the United States are similar in size, while the areas above 3,000 meters, white, in the United States are very few. In the Qinghai-Tibet region of China, there are 2 million square kilometers of areas above 3,000 meters above sea level. The area below 500 meters, green, in China is only one-third the size of the United States. Southeast slope. Slope of southeast China. The altitude map may not be able to express the flatness of the terrain very well, but the slope map can. In China, there are only large areas of flatland along the coast of North China and the Yangtze River Delta, and there are large areas of hills with steep slopes along the southeast coast, which makes the southeast coast form a ground trap, hindering the inland the economic connection with the coast. Even if the infrastructure level is quite mature, the cost of building roads is still very high. In contrast, the eastern Atlantic coast of the United States, the southern Gulf Coast, and the Florida Peninsula are all relatively flat, with slopes below 5, and their balanced development and construction costs are relatively much lower. U.S. terrain rendering. China terrain rendering. From the perspective of terrain rendering, the overall terrain of the United States is relatively flat. The eastern part is the Appalachian Mountains and the lowlands along the Atlantic coast. The largest peninsula, the Florida Peninsula, is more than 600 kilometers long from north to south and over 200 kilometers wide from east to west. The west belongs to the Cordillera Mountains, which runs through the west of North America and is 1,700 kilometers wide. The mountain system is composed of the Rocky Mountains in the east, the Cascade Mountains in the west, the Sierra Nevada Mountains and the coastal mountains along the Pacific Ocean. The Rocky Mountains start from the Yukon Plateau in Canada in the north and extend southward to Mexico. It is the largest in North America. The watershed, where rivers east of the mountains flow into the Atlantic Ocean and rivers west of the mountains flow into the Pacific Ocean. The Mississippi River, the largest river in the central region, and its main tributaries pass through the central Great Plains, with excellent hydrothermal conditions. China's terrain is high in the west and low in the east, and most of the mountains and rivers also run east-west. The east-west mountains are good for blocking the Siberian cold current and will not cause large-scale ice and snow disasters. The east-west rivers are conducive to the development of farming civilization. The Yellow River, Yangtze River, Haihe River, Huihe River, Pearl River, Weha River, Fenhe River, Xiangjiang River, Hanjiang River, Ganjiang River, Songhua River, Ninjiang River, Liahe River, and other water systems have formed a developed river transport system and irrigation area. These water systems also happen to pass through the 8 major plains in the territory: the Northeast Plain, the North China Plain, the middle and lower reaches of the Yangtze River Plain, the Guangzhou-Weha Plain, the Shanxi-Fenhe Plain, the Pearl River Delta Plain, the Minjiang River Chengdu Plain, and the Yellow River Hintao Plain, carrying most of China's cultivated land and population. Major mountain rivers in America. China's major mountains and rivers. American Water Network. China Water System Network. Southeastern U.S. water transport situation. Water transport situation in Southeast China.